Picture this. It's a typical Monday morning. Two professionals walk into the exact same office building. They both have about 10 years of experience, right? They've both taken a few online AI courses, and they both proudly tell people, oh yeah, I use ChatGPT every single day. But fast forward to Friday, one of them has finished literally twice the amount of work, totally blown away the leadership team, and has somehow become the absolute go-to person for every new AI project. So, what actually made the difference here? Well, spoiler alert, it wasn't some magic prompt, and it definitely wasn't a more expensive AI subscription. It was a completely different way of thinking about AI. And that's exactly what we're breaking down in today's explainer.
You can see this difference clear as day when you look at how they actually work. Take our first employee. They sit down, open up ChatGPT, type in a prompt to draft an email, maybe ask it to summarize a PDF or whip up some Excel formulas. They are using AI, sure, but they are still the one doing all the driving. But our second employee, they don't even bother opening ChatGPT. Instead, behind the scenes, 5 AI agents wake up automatically at 8 a.m. One immediately starts checking emails, another one is analyzing yesterday's sales figures, a third is updating the CRM, while another one is gathering notes and building PowerPoint slides for the morning meeting. So by the time this second employee actually gets to their desk and takes that first sip of morning chai, 3 hours of heavy lifting work is just done.
The reality is, most professionals are still treating ChatGPT like a slightly smarter Google search or, really fast writing assistant. They ask it to draft an email or summarize a document. And hey, don't get me wrong, those are great skills to have. But they are barely scratching the surface of what's happening inside massive enterprise companies today. Honestly, saying you know AI just because you use ChatGPT is kind of like saying you are an expert in Microsoft Office because you know how to type in Word. Sure, you're using it, but you're missing the big picture. Companies aren't asking, can you use ChatGPT anymore? They're asking, can you automate an entire workflow? And that is a fundamentally different skill.
And what's really fascinating is how fast this shift is happening, especially in the Indian market. Look at the data from Deloitte's 2026 State of AI report. 40% of Indian organizations are already reporting significant or full AI usage. To put that into perspective, the global average is sitting way back at around 28%. So India is really leading the pack globally here. We're talking about deploying AI across everything: product development, operations, marketing, sales, supply chains, you name it. Enterprise companies have moved way beyond just tinkering with small AI experiments.
And that momentum is just exploding. OpenAI actually reported that India is one of their fastest growing markets specifically for agentic tools. Get this. Since the start of 2026, the adoption of codecs for these agentic systems has jumped by 27 times. 27 times! That massive spike tells us something absolutely crucial. Companies aren't just satisfied with asking an AI questions anymore. They are aggressively building systems that can plan workflows, use different digital tools, and complete multi-step tasks without needing a human to constantly hold their hand. The biggest shift in 2026? It's not ChatGPT, it's AI agents.
So what exactly is an AI agent, right? How is it different? Well, unlike traditional AI, an agent is a system that can actually plan, use specific tools, and execute a whole sequence of tasks on its own, with the right permissions and oversight, of course. Think about it like this. ChatGPT is like a brilliant, super intelligent assistant that just politely sits there waiting for you to tell it what to do. An AI agent is proactive. It goes out and gathers information, it organizes data across completely different software platforms, it preps reports. The goal isn't to replace human judgment at all. It's to strip away all that tedious manual effort so you can actually focus on the high-value strategic stuff. Let's make this super concrete with a real-world example. Imagine your boss walks over and says, hey, prep tomorrow's sales meeting. Now, if you're just using ChatGPT, you're still doing a ton of the legwork. You're asking it for an agenda, you're summarizing your own spreadsheets, asking it to draft emails, and then you're piecing the slides together yourself. You are still doing the manual work. AI is just helping you do it a bit faster. But if you have an AI agent, that system autonomously pulls yesterday's sales data, grabs the CRM updates, generates the visual charts, drafts the presentation, writes the follow-up emails, and even schedules the meeting for you to approve. You still review the final output. You're the ultimate safety net. But the manual effort is basically gone. ChatGPT helps you think. AI agents help you execute.
And trust me, enterprise leaders know exactly what's happening. A recent EY India survey found that a whopping 91% of decision makers say the speed of deployment is their #1 factor for adopting AI, and 47% of these organizations already have multiple generative AI use cases live in production right now. Now, while Agentic AI specifically is still in its early days, the writing is absolutely on the wall.
From banking and IT to manufacturing, healthcare, retail, every major industry is literally racing to figure this out and implement it.
So why the massive rush? Well, it all boils down to high-speed business outcomes. Companies are desperate for faster customer support, significantly shorter reporting cycles, getting rid of those endless manual tasks, and ultimately, making decisions faster. And I really want to stress this point. This does not mean every company is just trying to replace their people. What they're actually trying to do is completely redesign how work gets done to hit those high-speed goals. Like we said earlier, leadership isn't looking for someone who just knows ChatGPT. They are actively hunting for people who can completely redesign a business process using AI.
Now, obviously, this brings up the elephant in the room: jobs. And the objective reality is this: AI isn't coming for every single job out there, but highly standardized, repetitive work, yeah, that is becoming incredibly easy to automate. If your entire day is just copying data from one place to another, pulling standard weekly reports, basic scheduling, and sending the exact same emails over and over, those tasks are absolutely at risk. But on the flip side, professionals who bring real human judgment, deep domain expertise, empathy for the customer, and the ability to design these AI workflows, you become highly, highly valuable. The pressure is strictly on the repetitive tasks. The humans who adapt are the ones who become indispensable.
Which brings us to what might be the single most important mental shift you can make right now. We call it agentic thinking. It's basically the ability to look at a massive, complex business problem and break it down into tiny, distinct steps that an AI system can handle. So instead of wasting time hoarding 1,000 different ChatGPT prompts, you need to start looking at how work actually flows through your organization. Start asking yourself, what tasks are eating up everyone's time every single week? Which reports are we just constantly regenerating? Which approvals follow the exact same rigid pattern every time? Where are the bottlenecks? Finding those patterns is the core of agentic thinking, because those are the exact spots where an AI agent can step in and create massive value.
And here is the really good news. You absolutely do not need to drop everything and become a machine learning engineer to win here. What companies are actually looking for is a mix of 5 essential skills. First, AI workflow design, knowing how to connect different tasks together seamlessly. Second, that agentic thinking we just talked about. Third is automation strategy, knowing exactly when to automate something, and just as importantly, knowing when a human actually needs to stay in the loop. Fourth is data literacy, because let's face it, your AI is only as smart as the clean data you feed it. And finally, domain expertise. The winners in this new era won't be the people who memorize the most prompts. The winners will be the folks in HR, finance, sales, and operations who can combine their deep industry knowledge with these new AI capabilities.
Let's just zoom out for a second and look at history. Every single major technology shift has heavily rewarded the people who adapted early. Think back to Excel. Excel didn't put accountants out of work, right? But the accountants who actually learned how to use Excel completely outpaced the ones clinging to paper ledgers. Email didn't replace managers, but the managers who embraced it got vastly more done. AI is on that exact same trajectory. We are moving from the present phase of just manually querying ChatGPT into the future of designing autonomous AI workflows. The professionals who figure out how to work alongside these agents are the ones who are going to own the future of work.
So that leaves us with one final thought for today. Stop asking yourself, how can I write a better ChatGPT prompt? And start asking yourself, what parts of my job could be completely redesigned with AI while keeping human judgment exactly where it matters most? That is the mindset of the future. Now, if you found this explainer helpful, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because every single week we break down the latest AI developments with real, practical strategies specifically for professionals. No hype, no crazy tech jargon, just stuff you can actually use. And hey, I would love to hear from you down in the comments. Drop your profession and tell me one repetitive task you have to do every single day. In our next explainer, I'll literally show you how AI can streamline that exact workflow step by step. Until then, keep learning. Keep experimenting, and remember, the future belongs to the professionals who actually know how to build with AI, not just talk about it.